Welcome to Lunch Break Live. This is a show that's going to be teaching you today how to really prepare yourself for all of the beauty and the bounty that life offers and that nature so generously gives us, and what to do with it all. So I'm your host, Doreet. I am so glad to have you here today. Let's have a look at all of this goodness and how to use it, shall we? So I'm going to be putting this over here so that I can start chopping immediately. So we have, what is this? These are macadamia nuts. I'm in love with macadamia nuts, but only when they're fresh. And these are fresh from Hawaii. The ones that I really love are even more are from Australia. If you ever have a chance to get Australian macadamia nuts, so if you're ever in Australia, make sure you really take advantage of that and start enjoying a macadamia nut. This one is cashews. A lot of people think that cashews are nuts. No, they're not. These are actually seeds, and they actually grow outside of the fruit. And here we have two different kinds of apples. You'll see there's an abundance of apples right now. I don't know if you've ever heard or seen this apple. See how dark it is? It's called an Arkansas black apple, and it's pretty dark. And then, see, it's different from most of the Fuji apples and all the other apples that you were used to seeing. And then we are going to be actually using the sugar cane, not just as a sweetener, but also as one of the main ingredients. We're making a nut nog today. So what is a nut nog? Well, we're going to be making milk. We're going to be using a coconut. And I already chopped open a different coconut and took out the water and the meat and flesh, or it's also called coconut meat, inside of it. And I pureed it, and it's already ready in here to go. So I'm going to now take this, which is the coconut that has been juiced by specific and very strong industrial juicer. You cannot juice it in your own juicer, please don't even try, and made into the raw coconut juice. This is from a place called a Raw Cane Juice Bar in Hollywood, California, and they do ship it. So it's really one of my favorite things to have in the months where it's kind of chilly and cold, but I want something with nutty in it and fruity at the same time. Now, the beauty about this, I'm going to be pouring this in here. The beauty about this is that raw cane juice, but in its raw form, is not just a sweetener. It also helps in fighting and preventing various forms of cancer, such as prostate, and also putting in the cashew now, and also breast cancer. Sugarcane itself is rich in antioxidants, so it helps fight infections and helps to boost immunity. It is also high in iron. Here we go with the macadamia nuts. So sugarcane also, so it's actually great for dehydration. As you can see, it's actually a juice, so lots of water in here. And it helps with the common cold and other infections, and also will also fight fever as it boosts the body's protein levels. So we've got our sweetener, which I'm going to put some more in as well. This is really simple. Now, most people, and I also, will make a nut nog using almond milk. First, you make almond milk, but because most people find that it's too complicated to make almond milk, or you have to have a special machine for it, and I did a show a few weeks ago showing how to make almond milk, and I'll do another one, which is a much easier way of making almond milk. So we're going to be putting in some spices, but because most people don't want to make almond milk because they find it's too much, I'm using macadamia nuts and the cashew today. So can you see that? I'm putting in cardamom and also clove. These are winter spices that I'm putting in there. Notice I also have cinnamon bark. So can you hear that? I'm taking some of the bark off and putting it in here. I just love using it like this. The beauty of having a powerful blender is that I can put this in without having to take the mortar and pestle and grind it first. And I will use that afterwards. Now I'm going to be putting some nutmeg in there. I so love nutmeg, especially the aroma of it. Oh my gosh. So I have a nutmeg grater. It's a special little grater, baby grater. And I'm going to put that in there. Now I do use a lot of nutmeg because this is a winter drink and we want it to taste just like the regular Nogs. And one of the main things in those Nogs is actually nutmeg. Oops, it went right in there. No, we don't want it in there. So that's the nutmeg. Now I'm going to put some vanilla. Now we could have put, there is the vanilla. We could have taken the vanilla bean and put it in there, but I find for most people it's way too expensive. The vanilla bean show for those if you want to learn how to use it. It's really a much better way if you really want flavor in all of its magnificence. That's the way to go. Now this vanilla, like most vanilla extracts, do have alcohol in there. This one does, but there is now one without alcohol. For those of you who want to make sure you never taste alcohol again, or you don't wish to have alcohol, finally, thank goodness, there's now an alcohol-free vanilla. I'm going to be very generous with the vanilla when I put it in there, because this will really add a lot to the flavor. And in addition to putting in the actual, this is mace powder. Putting some of that in there. I need a spoon for that. I'm using a ceramic spoon, so I do not change the energy of the food. It's all about not changing the vibration energy. You know, winter is a very high vibration time. There's a lot going on, especially around the winter solstice, and we want to make sure that our foods are also high in vibration. Now, as a chef, as a certified living food chef, I go according to the rules of Ayurveda, and I make sure that I have all the 5 tastes in there. And look, we have here a very light gray sea salt, because in addition to putting the sweeteners in, we have to make sure we balance it out by putting some, not a lot, some salt in there. You want to, if you put too much, you'll taste it. You want to make sure you do not taste it. Now, what do you say? I cannot get that sugarcane juice, and I know that it can be delivered to me, but it's a bit much. I don't want it. You can then do this, which is to put in some mangoes, some dried mango, dehydrated mangoes overnight in water. Oh my gosh, the aroma. And then you can put it in there and use only just the actual, see the liquid. See how it's now a syrup? And even the color, I don't know if you can see that. So you can also put that in. We're going to do this for our next drink, but not right now. So pretty much we have everything we need in there for a Nut Nog. And the only other thing that we need to do is to blend it. A very powerful blender, please, because you've got a lot of nuts. There's going to be a lot of noise, so get ready, do the dance. Now, I still hear some going, so I know it's not completely ready, but I wanted to show you how frothy. Oh my gosh, the smells frothy and creamy it is. Do you see how quick and easy this was to make a nut milk? So if you don't want to be making the almond milk, this is the quickest and easiest way to do it. But it's also pretty expensive because you have to use raw macadamia nuts. Please do not use the cooked one. Just a little bit more. I'm making this. Just so it will be frothy. And there we go. So I am going to now get a glass. And ooh, this is just delicious. I wish I could get you some to try. Oh my goodness. If only I could get this to you through the internet. here we go. Now we're going to see how nice and thick and frothy it is. Can you hear it? Oh my gosh. This is one of my favorite drinks. But you see how quick that was because I didn't do the almond milk? So this is just another way of doing it. Of course, I prefer it with almond milk, but because I love macadamia so much, and they're so rich and they're so perfect for the winter, this ends up being, for me, one of the best things that I could possibly make. So I think you will enjoy too, and that you will also agree. So I'm going to just put some of the cinnamon bark here on top of it. And then I'm going to grate, where's that mace? And you could also put some nutmeg there too if you wanted to. Just a little mace powder here. And we will look at, if we have time at the end, we'll put some more of that nutmeg. And here we have our drink for the holidays. So enjoy l'chaim, to your health, to your wealth. And of course, we want to make sure that we bless the earth and every single living being on the earth as well, because they all helped in creating all of these ingredients for us. Now, you made a lot of milk. Let's say you made a lot of milk. You don't know, oh my gosh, I'm really don't know what to do. I made too much. No problem. I'm going to have you use this as a base now and teach you how to make another drink using a lot of the fruits of nature. So this is some ginger juice that I made prior to the show. So I'm going to put some of this in there. If you don't like ginger, then don't put it. If you like ginger, be careful. Don't put too much because ginger juice is really strong. It's very concentrated. Now, you will see you can either use any kind of yam here, see, or sweet potato if you prefer. And here I have one peeled. I actually have two peeled because I'm putting two in there. So you're going to take a knife, preferably a ceramic knife, because it doesn't change the energy of the food. It is also one of the sharpest knives there is. You never have to sharpen it. And you want to make sure that you always are doing things that keeps the energy of the food intact. So I don't have to cut this up too much. Normally, if it weren't a powerful blender, I'd have to cut this a lot more than that. But you see, this is how I've done it. And I'm going to put that in there. And I'm going to put another one, which I already peeled prior to the show, in there as well, taking off the ends of it. And if you want, you can also slice it first lengthwise like this. And then you can do it like this. It all depends on the power that you have in your blender. So you really need powerful blenders to work with the earth and to do all these things that are straight from nature. So there we go. Now we're going to put in another of the fruits of the winter, and that is that same Arkansas black apple that I showed you before. So apples now go in. And you know, for those of you who have apple trees and you say, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with it? So yesterday, we showed yesterday, I had a special guest on, Tanya Kay, on the Elegantly Raw show. And we showed how to use the apples to make a fruit bucha, like a kombucha. And so please watch it if you'd like to know how to do that step by step. That's what we taught yesterday. So here we go. I'm going to add the entire apple because not only is this going to give it high nutritional value and flavor, but in addition, also it's going to give it more moisture because apples have a lot of moisture in them. And then the final fruit of the winter that I'm using, isn't she a beauty? Just absolutely stunning. How can we say that we're going to go to a grocery store and buy things that have already been prepared rather than do it ourselves? Look at all the juice coming out of this. Look at all the moisture and the water. When we have all the gifts of nature, the thing is that when you have these things, you only feel absolutely vibrant and full of energy afterwards. You don't feel exhausted and tired, and you don't drag yourself up from the dining table. Look at the juices in here. I hope you can see this. it's just brimming with juices. Of course, this one is ripe. That's why I'm going to leave this little piece and eat this afterwards. Now, remember I was telling you about using the syrup of the mango to sweeten. So we're not just going to use that. We're going to use the mango too. You can also pour the whole thing in there. And there we go. Now, because I put all these other things in there, I will need to put a little bit more of the spices. So I'm going to put more of the vanilla. You don't have to. I just happen to love them. So just a little bit more of the vanilla. And I'm going to put a little bit more of the mace. There we go. Found another ceramic spoon. Always use ceramics, totally non-toxic. There we go. Now, how much you put all depends on you and just how much you like to flavor in your drinks. So, again, this is the non-alcoholic vanilla, but I'm going to put a little bit more salt in there because I know that we're going to need a little bit more just to balance it out so it's not too sweet. When you eat something or you drink something that's too sweet for you, just add some salt. Otherwise, you're going to start craving salty things and you're always going to probably feel hungry for the rest of the day and the rest of the time. Now, I could finish with this, but I want to introduce you to, in case you don't know it, the Moringa. Now, this has all the amino acids that the body needs, and so it's a complete protein, much more so than meat, by the way. So I keep it and the one that studies have shown, there are different kinds of Moringa, that is the most nutritionally high is the Moringa oleifera. So this is the one that I use on a regular basis, but I keep it in the glass jar here. So I'm going to put also a teaspoon in there. So now I'm making this into almost like, it's like a meal. It's become a meal. The minute I put the Moringa in there, this is now a meal. So you see I'm balancing out all the fruits and the sweetness with the Moringa. I'm putting I would normally put all of this in there, but because I'm going to put something else in there too, I'm putting a little less in there. And let me put this away first. So over here, and I'm going to show you what it is that I really want to put in there now, because this is something which you can make for yourself. You don't have to purchase it, but it takes a lot of time. So I just purchased it from Sun Warrior, which is a company that I really, really like. It's a vegan company, of course, but they make this raw, plant-based, and this is called their Sun Warrior Collagen Building Protein Peptides. So there you go. That's what it looks like. As you can see, I use it a lot. It's almost at the end. I almost finished it. And there, it comes with a spoon. And this is where you're going to get your more protein from. But more than that, you get biotin and hyaluronic acid. Instead of putting hyaluronic acid in your skin, you know the skin really is from the inside out. If you're putting things on the outside, you're not getting the full use of it, the full value of it. It has to be on the inside. So this is going to help with your skin, your nails, your hair. Oh my gosh, this is pretty incredible. I don't know the people who make it, but I have been following them for a while, and I have watched their studies and I've seen a lot of the results, and I love it myself for what I see with me. Now, I could have put some adaptogens in here, but I will not because we already have a lot of things in here today. So this is a complete meal. This is going to enrich your entire diet to the nth degree as well. Not just because it has protein there, but it has all of the different antioxidants. Make sure you really blend it well, because we have a lot of things that we're blending together in there. Plus, remember, you've got all those root vegetables. Now, it's going to be quite thick. If you don't like a very thick smoothie, this is a meal. Remember, this is a complete meal. Then you can just put more of the raw cane juice in there, or more of that syrup from the mangoes. So this is a smoothie that's an entire meal. You can have this for lunch, for breakfast, for dinner, whatever it is. You can take it with you when you travel, unless you get on a plane. Of course, they won't let you take liquids, unfortunately. But this is the earth in a glass. This is what is going to really give you a lot of energy throughout the day and give you everything that you would like to have in your body without having to actually spend a lot of time doing it. That's why, a blender is so important, because it takes the place of so many other things that you would have to do. It just makes everything quicker and easier. So I am actually putting some nutmeg on top of this, and the Nut Nog, I'm going to put some on top of the Nut Nog as well. Here we go. Boy, I can never get enough nutmeg. I don't know about you, but I definitely can never get enough nutmeg. Now, this is the one that has persimmon in there, so I'm going to put some of this on there. I'm just going to cut this and like this. And I'm going to cut it from the side because it's probably easier. Yes, from the side. So I'm going to put like this here. Oops. Like this. Yep. And now I'm going to wipe my hands first. Anna Paula, can you tell me if there are any comments or anything that we need to hear or know about, please? There we go.
Yes, we have a comment from Kayla. She's wondering if pumpkin spice would suffice instead of all the spices used in the smoothie.
Yes, absolutely it would. The difference, Kayla, is because I do everything from scratch. But yes, if you've got pumpkin spices already made and ready to go, absolutely yes. I totally commend you. That's an excellent question. Yes, it definitely would. Make sure it's fresh, though. I think you should always make sure your spices are fresh and that they're all organic. Do you know most spices are irradiated, and some of them are genetically modified too? So be very careful which spices you're using and from whom. Anything else?
And Tom was intrigued that the collagen was vegan, so I don't know if
It's not collagen. There's no collagen in here. That's why it says collagen building. These are what will build the collagen. Can you see that?
yes.
And is that coming through? It says collagen building. This is not collagen.
I didn't know about that either. Very interesting.
Most people don't. This is why I'm introducing it to you all. This helps to build the collagen in your body. The collagen doesn't exist. It has to be built in your body. And these are the primary things that help to bring to build collagen in your body. And the hyaluronic acid is very important for moisture and very important for collagen building. And so is the biotin. So you will find that there's a lot. I should show you on the side of it. I don't know if you can see that. All the ingredients that are in there. But this company I really like because they used to be totally raw. They're mainly raw now. They do have some things that are just plant-based, but not raw. But they used to use a lot of, putting things in the sun and heating things in the sun, which I love. Yes, Anna Paula, go ahead.
And I think that's it for today so far.
Oh, wonderful. I see David Wong also said something, but I cannot read it here.
We have a lot of happy winter solstice wishes.
Yay! Yes, well, let's hear the comments about the winter solstice. I'm really interested to hear those. Thanks.
So we have David Wong saying happy winter solstice meal, and Tom wishing you a happy winter solstice.
Well, thank you both so much. That is really important, So the winter solstice is really something which is not just that we need, it's not really much about happiness, such as being aware. It's about raising our vibrational energy. It's just like this. This helps to raise your vibrational energy. But in my opinion, in order to actually create a relationship with our food, we need to match the vibrational energy of the food. So we need to raise our own vibrational energies to match the vibrational energies of the food. And this way, the food is able to be digested, not just easily, but it also helps to raise our own vibration even higher. But if we have a very low vibration and we eat food of a very high vibrational level, there's too big a gap between them. And the food cannot do for you what you cannot do for yourself. So at the beginning, yes, you'll find a lot of people who go plant-based at the beginning, or especially when they go raw, their vibrational energy lifts and it's off the chart. And then they plateau and it begins to sink. Why? Because they're always looking for the food to raise their vibrational energies, but they're not doing anything in their own lives to do it. They have the same thought patterns, the same language patterns. They have the same kitchen. You need to change your kitchen. Once you become plant-based, you need to go and clean out the entire kitchen. When you become raw, even more so. I do not have a stove. I purchased a convection platter for when I have clients who want cooked plant-based food. But for myself, I do not use it because I just don't believe in that. I believe that stoves are one of the most disease-creating things, that implements that we buy, that we purchase. But that's my own opinion. But remember, I prefer to be raw. I prefer to have food straight from nature. But I do understand in the winter, people want a warm bean soup and want a lentil dish. And so I make those for clients, yes. But make sure you have a convection oven or a convection stove. Make sure you always have things of the highest vibrational level. So when you have a stove, make sure it's convection stove, a convection oven, and just make sure that everything that you do is of a higher vibrational level. And that's what the winter solstice to me is about. It's about raising our own vibrational level to match the vibrational level of the earth around us. Now, you might think, oh, but the vibrational level of the earth is not that high right now. We've polluted it too much. That's not true. The truth is that the earth can heal herself. And so can we, by really reinforcing our own diets with all these precious, by the way, I wish you could smell this, all these precious gifts from the earth. You will find that the earth is self-healing. Not only will she help you to heal, if you go walking barefoot in the forest or go walking barefoot on a beach, just be mindful that there are no glasses, no broken glass or anything on there. You will find that very healing. Look at the negative ions that are on the beach and in the forest. Very, very healing. So think about all the things in which we need to start looking at changing in our lives. Spending more time in nature is really important, much more than eating, because we can do without food for up to 3 weeks, but we cannot do without air and water. And I really do believe that food should not be a commodity that we have to pay for. When I remember, and Apollo, you and I went to Argentina together.
Yes.
We left Buenos Aires and we went to this little village, this little town outside of Buenos Aires. Do you remember the name of it?
Oh, I don't know. Was it one of the communities by El Tigre, the
Yes.
river?
There were fruit trees growing on the sidewalk. Do you remember that?
Yes.
That's the kind of community I wish to live in, where you just go along the road and you just pick, as you're walking down the street, you just pick whatever you need from there. And we should be able to have farms where we go and we volunteer on it to help clean it and keep it, updated and whatnot. And then we'd go to the farmers, in exchange, we do something for the farmer and we exchange food, or just let the plants and the trees grow wild. Wild crafted foods are the highest vibrational foods, even more so than biodynamic foods. Biodynamic is higher than organic. Then above that is wild-crafted foods. So make sure that you eat as much wild-crafted foods as possible. Wild-crafted means we, human beings, really have done nothing to it. And usually it's in places where we cannot go because it's too far away or it's too treacherous to get there. And so these plants grow wild exactly the way they were meant to. So I do use a lot of wild-crafted spices and herbs, because those are the highest vibrations. So let's lift our vibrational energy to meet the vibrational energy of the winter solstice. Thank you all for your greetings.
And quick, one more question. Paige wanted to know, what is your favorite fruit?
It depends, and it depends on the season. Right now, it's a big pull. Right now, it's really cherimoyas. because in winter, I love cherry moyas, when I say with a passion, but I only eat fruit that are very ripe. So it's a big risk that I take. I will leave cherry moya overnight, and sometimes I took too big a risk, and I come back the next morning, and they're no longer edible because they're too ripe. They're gone. But very ripe cherry moyas, it's like ice cream. I like how people feel about ice cream. I'm not a big an ice cream person, but the way people feel about ice cream is the way I feel about cherry moyas. In the summer, ask me that question again, Paige. In the spring, ask me that question again, because my tastes keep changing. But right now, it is definitely cherry moyas. If you know of anybody who has cherry moyas that are not been sprayed with pesticides, herbicides, or fungicides, please let me know. Anything else, Anna Paula?
I think that was it for today. Yes, lots of good vibrations and happiness in the comments.
To all of you, I really want to thank you for showing up for yourselves today. When you show up for yourself, you show up for me. When you show up for me, you show up for everyone else. There are people who need to know that we are showing up for ourselves, because in doing so, we lift them with us. And they're in a very dark place right now and need all the uplifting they can get. So do something for yourself today, because in doing so, you uplift the rest of us. Thank you, everyone, for having joined us. Thank you for being here. Be a light to yourself. And please remember, there's no reason to hide your own light. We all have a light within us, and we have no idea sometimes that we're shining it, but we do it when we are being our true self. So just give of yourself. Be completely and totally mindful and aware of all of your interactions with yourself today. And until next week, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Tomorrow, there is something that I don't know if Paige wants to tell you about in the comments, that we're doing at 8 o'clock in the morning, Pacific Standard Time, a panel discussion. And today, Jane Elizabeth here on the Jane on Chain News Network is having a panel discussion, and I'm on that panel too, 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. So thanks, everyone. Bye for now until next week. Oh, next week's guest is an amazing doctor, is going to be showing us. I asked her, she loves to do my favorite greens, which are microgreens, but I've asked her to teach us to make Indian food, Indian doses, and I specifically gave her 2 requests, and she will be doing it. So please make sure you tune in next week. Bye for now. Thanks, Anna Paula.